I said on Tuesday that the transfer of 5 hardened terrorists has made Americans less safe. And I mean that, and I'll stand by it. When asked last week whether the freed terrorists could return to plotting attacks on Americans, President Obama recently said, absolutely. Well, I don't think that's but half of it. This exchange has encouraged our enemies and increased the risk to our military and civilian personnel serving around the globe. Those who would argue the opposite, I think, are incredibly naive. One of our citizens' greatest protections was knowing that the United States does not negotiate with terrorists. And that issue now, that principle has been compromised. America is willing to make deals with terrorists. That's the new Obama Doctrine. Back in January, I urged the President to get engaged with what's going on in Iraq. And the Obama administration's failure to reach a status of forces agreement continues to have serious consequences for Iraq and American interest in the region. And the administration's failed policies in Syria, Libya, and Egypt, and its failure to implement a broader strategy for the Middle East is having a direct impact on the situation in Iraq. The United States has and will continue to have vital national interest in Iraq. But the progress made there is clearly in jeopardy.
You said that the people who think that this Bergdahl swap was a good deal are naive. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff signed off on this deal on the metric of national security. Do you think the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is naive and the Secretary of Defense himself a veteran?
They are dead wrong on this issue. Releasing these 5 people, negotiating with terrorists, is a principle that we've not violated. And now we've violated, and we've put Americans at risk as a result of it.
On Iraq, do you think the U.S. should be launching airstrikes? And if not, what should the U.S. do?
Well, I think what we should do is to provide the equipment and the technical assistance that the Iraqis have been asking for. I don't know enough of the details about the airstrikes to comment whether we should or we shouldn't. But it's not like we haven't seen this problem coming for over a year. And it's not like we haven't seen over the last 5 or 6 months these terrorists moving in, taking control of western Iraq. Now they've taken control of Mosul. They're 100 miles from Baghdad. And what's the president doing? Taking a nap.